Hello, World History 1 students. This is Mr. Everton coming to you from beautiful Shea, Everton, drinking a delicious cup of coffee. That's good coffee. And I'm here today to talk to you about the Persian Empire. We're going to be talking about how the Persians controlled a large empire, which was a very massive task indeed. We've already learned about empire. Oh, my head is cutting off part of Qin Shi Huangdi. He would torture me, probably, is what would happen. We've already talked about empires in our class. Qin Shi Huangdi had an empire. Remember that one? It was called China. It started off as just his little piece of China, the kingdom of Qin, which was controlled by his family, but he unified all the other parts of China and brought them under his control. Ashoka's family, the Mauryaans, had an empire as well, the Mauryan Empire, in which many different diverse peoples around the Indian subcontinent, were brought under the control of the Mauryan dynasty. So an empire is a large territory with many different diverse peoples, usually with their own unique cultures, not a lot of shared common culture between the peoples. And it's usually brought together and controlled by military force. The people who create empires are usually skilled military leaders. And they make empires because empires make you a lot of money. So empire is kind of unpleasant and nasty because it's like you're using your army to kill a bunch of people so you can take their stuff. It makes the people who run empires very wealthy, however, which is why it keeps happening. And the Persians created an empire. Their empire, was the Persian Empire, duh. The Persians got their start in the modern day country of Iran. It wasn't called Iran back then. By the way, I'm going to call it Iran. You don't have to, but you'll sound less educated than me. If you say Iran, people will know what you mean, but Iran is the proper pronunciation. Iran is the place where the Persian people got their start. And the Persian people eventually would go on and conquer all of Mesopotamia. Remember Mesopotamia? There are many different peoples who lived in Mesopotamia. The Sumerians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Elamites, the Hittites, lots of other ones that I'm not saying their names right now. All of those people were brought under the control of the Persian Empire, which controlled a massive territory all the way from Asia Minor in the west to the Indus River Valley in the east. It also included Egypt, which is another part of the diverse Persian Empire. All of these people were paying taxes to the same person, which meant that person very rich, but it meant that they had the problem of trying to hold this empire together. If you have a large empire like the Persian Empire, it's really hard to keep all those people from rebelling against you and going off and becoming their own thing again. The Egyptians don't want to be part of the Persian Empire. They want to be just Egypt and control themselves. So how do you keep a large empire together is the problem that the Persians faced. The Persian Empire was founded by this guy, Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great was the founder of the Persian Empire. He was the first member of the Achaemenid dynasty, which is the founding dynasty of the Persian Empire. And one of the ways that he tried to solve this problem of keeping the empire together was through ruling through tolerance, allowing people to hold on to their own culture, particularly their own religion, and not force them to convert to your religion, which will make them unhappy and make them want to leave. What's an example of this? Kindness over cruelty. Sorry, Cyrus. Need to let you talk. This is called the Cyrus cylinder. The Cyrus cylinder is a big old cylinder with cuneiform all over it, which is a proclamation from the Emperor Cyrus. He wrote this proclamation on this cylinder, and if you could read that cuneiform, what it says is, I, Cyrus the Great, hereby announced that the Jewish people are allowed to believe whatever they want as long as they pay their taxes. The Jewish people, the Hebrews, had been taken captive, if you'll remember, by the Babylonians. The Jewish temple had been burned down and they'd been pulled out of Jerusalem and taken to Babylon, where they were miserable for about, 50, 60 years. And they really wanted to leave. And when Cyrus the Great conquered the Babylonian Empire, he freed them and he allowed them to return to Jerusalem. And here you see some Jewish people today praying at the Western Wall, the remains of that temple that was destroyed. So this is an example of ruling through tolerance. The Hebrews are going to be more likely to stay part of the Persian Empire because they're allowed to believe what they want. This is Darius the Great, a Persian Empire emperor who came a couple generations after Cyrus, and he also had some strategies for ruling the empire, which he expanded to India. And when he expanded it to India, he had to become even more focused on trying to run the empire, and he did it through organization. He came up with tools, systems that helped the empire to run more smoothly, and one of those is called the Royal Road. You can see the Royal Road on this map here. It's that red line that is the pinkish red line surrounded by the darker orange line there on the map. And the Persian Royal Road, you can see, went from Anatolia, or Asia Minor, all the way to the interior of the Persian Empire. And it was this long road, this with many outposts along the road with fresh horses, where messengers could travel from outpost to outpost and get fresh horses and move quickly from one part of the empire to another in order to communicate quickly. It was also a way to transport things from one part of the empire to another. Transporting things can include transporting troops, soldiers, so that if somebody in Asia Minor was starting to get into, shenanigans, then the Persian emperor in the center of the empire would be able to find out about it and then send soldiers there and take care of the problem. So that's the Royal Road, which improved Persian transportation across the empire and also communication, which I have misspelled. That's sloppy, Mr. Everton. Communication has an I in between the N and the C. My bad. If you don't write the I there, I'll know that you're not listening to the words that I'm saying and that you're just copying down PowerPoint slides. And that makes Mr. Everton sad. Tear. Another strategy that Darius the Great had for, by the way, his name is Darius. Pronounce it Darius. Darius the Great had for governing the empire was breaking it up into provinces, which he called satrapies. And this is a map of the administrative divisions of Darius's empire. You can see all these different colored parts of the map are different provinces or satrapies, and they were all governed by different satraps, like this guy you see here. This is a relief statue of Darius the Great talking to a satrap, a situation that might have gone something like this.
What's up, little dude?
Emperor Darius, all of the provinces have paid their taxes.
It's pronounced Darius, little dude.
Bringing history alive, for sure. So imperial bureaucracy was the Persian technique of breaking the empire up into provinces. Each was ruled by somebody called a satrap or a governor. So satraps would rule these provinces. They would be in charge of collecting taxes for the province. They would be in charge of making sure that nothing went wrong in the province. And then there was also a network of government officials who were responsible for running different parts, for administering the Persian Empire. Very similar to what Han China set up with their civil service system. Very similar to bureaucratic strategies that the United States uses today. Bureaucracy is an important tool for controlling any large organization, and the Persians were some of the first people to discover this. Now, finally, I'd like to talk about Persian culture, which for our purposes is going to mean Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is the religion of ancient Persia. This is a picture, a painting. We don't know what this man looked like, but the founder of Zoroastrianism is the prophet Zoroaster. Sometimes his name is written as Zarathustra. And the prophet Zoroaster is the founder of Zoroastrianism. The religious text is called the Avesta. And the main teaching, this is, a complex religion with many different parts to it. The part that we are going to focus on is called dualism, which is the idea that the world is a struggle between the forces of good and the forces of evil. And that's like the main point for us of Zoroastrianism. Here you can see that battle represented in a drawing of the Persian god Ahura Mazda, the wise lord, fighting against Angra Mainyu, which is the demon, the forces of evil personified. And Zoroastrianism teaches that all of us have to make a choice in our lives about whether we want to live a life of good or whether we want to join Angra Mainyu and do evil things. Zoroaster taught that people need to have good thoughts, good deeds, good words. Again, very similar to other religions in that it is promoting moral behavior and a moral lifestyle, and asking people to think about things other than themselves and try to do good in the world. This is a relief sculpture of of Ahura Mazda, the wise lord, the center of Zoroastrianism. And Zoroastrians believe that it's still a religion today. There's still people who follow Zoroastrianism, and they believe that moral behavior will lead to an afterlife. And part of their idea of moral behavior was being against slavery. This is not to say that the Persian Empire had no slavery, but they had way less slavery than most other places in the ancient world. Certainly way less than the Greeks, who we'll be talking about soon. So today we talked about Persia. We talked about how they ruled through tolerance, or accepting other people and allowing them to do what they wanted to do as long as they paid their taxes. We talked about the royal road, which improved communication and transportation across the empire. We talked about imperial bureaucracy, which is a tool for organizing a large territory. And we talked about Zoroastrianism, the religion of ancient Persia. Sorry, I forgot to put an image on the last screen. I failed you. I'm sorry. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.